Wanted to make a quick video on the limitations of Google Search Console and the bad sides. Search Console is a tool that I use pretty much every day. I've created a Chrome extension using the API to pull the data in, which looks at it on a page level. Here's a quick preview of that as well. It's called Search Query Insights. If you want to look on the Chrome extension web store, and it basically pulls through search queries and whether they're found in the copy or not at a page level to stop you going on Search Console filtering and all that sort of stuff. Now, I do always recommend generally Search Console data is using raw data from Google's database, so it's not using third-party data. So generally it is more accurate than a tool like SEMrush, Ahrefs, SE Ranking, but it's not perfect. And I did a quick Google search earlier, and in the AI overview, it pulled a few of the limitations. So I just wanted to cover these. I don't just want to sort of read them out. I want to give a little bit of insight from my years of experience and limited knowledge, right? So is Search Console query data accurate? So it's generally accurate, not always 100% comprehensive due to other tools, due to sampling and collection methods. Let's forget the strengths for now. Limitations, sampling. So, as many of you may have worked out, even if you're not an SEO, it doesn't show everything. So it doesn't anonymize data, but it does anonymize clicks, but it doesn't anonymize search queries, if that makes sense. So it doesn't come up with like search query, anonymous one, anonymous two, anonymous three. It shows like percentage of the total search queries. So if you have a quick look for my site, over the last 3 months, it's saying oh, that's quite evil, 666 search queries got an impression or a click. There's more than that. It's difficult to say the exact number, but again, it's a sample. And you can also work this out. So if you go 3 months, there's 157 clicks. I'm not going to spend time adding it all together, but that is not 157. So we've got like, I don't know, 20 there for being generous. 28 plus 6. Maths is good, isn't it? 34, 39 plus 32. So yeah, that's what, 72 or whatever it is. Not woke up this morning, but 72, there's 157 clicks showing. So where are the rest? It's only showing about half. So this is where I normally recommend to get around stuff like this is do a small Google Ads search campaign, a really focused, limited Google Ads search campaign, so you can start to see the other search queries that your URLs would appear for, and look at other tools as well. Look at third-party tools, cross-reference them. If there's any search queries in here, in the other tools that don't appear in here, they could be the search queries that the site's appearing for. So you're just trying to sort of fill in the gaps. So yeah, it's showing a percentage, and from that, that's just one test case, but it's around half. Okay, so not always comprehensive. There we go. Like I just said, these are sort of the same point. Discrepancies with other tools. There may be discrepancies between Search Console data and Google Analytics due to different tracking methods. So your site may say it gets 20 clicks in a week in Search Console, but it gets 30 clicks in a week in Google Analytics, for example, for a small site. This is because they're tracked differently. So the click data is tracked differently. So the GA4 is more around user behavior and when people are actually on the site, Search Consoles before they actually click. Um, so they've got different definitions of metrics like clicks. So one might say if you click and then bounce straight off, that's not a click. Um, but yeah, so every tool has a different sort of metric. So that's another thing to take into consideration. Limited data. Certain areas are out of its purview, like competitor analysis, social media metrics, or real-time data tracking. Yeah, so Search Console's all historic. It goes back 16 months and lets you see a maximum of 1,000 rows. So there's the next point as well. There are ways to get around this. So there's a really good new SaaS tool released by Daniel Foley Carter called SEO Stack. I do recommend checking that out. There is a free plan. It lets you go further back than 16 months and lets you get more than 1,000 rows. Also, if you use Google Sheets a lot, there is an extension called Search Analytics for Sheets. Highly recommend checking that out. I use that all the time, and it bypasses the limit of 1,000 rows, so you can essentially get access to more data. It anonymizes less. So these are ways around it. Not 100% accurate. While generally reliable, the data is not always 100% accurate. There might be discrepancies in ranking positions or other metrics. It's always important to look at every metric and piece and data point uh, contextually. So if it says the average position over 3 months is 10 for a search query, it might have been position 90 for 2.5 months and then position 3 for the last couple of weeks. If, yeah, so always make sure you're recognizing your date range. Look at the filter. So if you're like an e-com store that only delivers in the UK, for example, filter down to the UK. Make sure you filter down to the UK because you can be getting clicks, impressions for search queries, which are global essentially, and you want the data that you want to really sort of specify which data you're looking for to compare and contrast. Yeah, and it just sort of was like correlation isn't always causation. If a keyword, even now I can look at a keyword and it won't be in the exact position that it says it is in Search Console, even if it's I'm just looking at yesterday's data. So if I just pick it's the 7th of April today, 6th of April's data, it might say average position 3 for a search query. Incognito mode, Google it, and it's 8. So take everything with a pinch of salt, check and check again, and use multiple data sources. So yeah, make sure you don't live and die completely by what it's saying. I'd always suggest using these extra tools, getting as much data as possible, which is why, yeah, I always suggest that like I don't know. If you've got an old property with historical data, that's gold. Make sure you export it and keep it. Um, but yeah, just wanted to run through a couple of the limitations, couple of recommendations, and yeah, Search Console's still an amazing tool. It's free and the data's fantastic, but it's not perfect.